Good morning, students. I am going to explain today a very important part, that is the conservation of flora and fauna. So already children, you have seen in this chapter, right from the start of the chapter, there are different aspects for the destruction of our Mother Earth, pollution, all the conditions, and it includes different points. And we are totally responsible. We human beings, we don't care about the conservation. And so it has been divided into two categories. First is the conservation of forests, how to conserve the forest. And second is the conservation of biodiversity. So we'll study this topic in two manners. So first is conservation of forests, and second is conservation of biodiversity. This is divided into two subtopics. Conservation of forests. So children, what is the meaning of conservation? So by conservation we mean the maintenance in its original state, or maintenance of anything in the proper order is called as conservation. So how we can conserve the forests? So children know well, we have completed almost this chapter. Very few points are left. So conservation of forest includes few basic points, and first point is afforestation. Afforestation or reforestation. So afforestation or reforestation means the maintenance of forest in its own condition. Maintenance of forest in its own condition means how forests are. It means we have to preserve the plants, trees, and all the animals which are growing, which are developing, which are reproducing in the forest. And so it is possible due to greatly. So afforestation or reforestation means we have to prevent the cutting of trees, prevent the jungles, prevent the forest, so that they remain in their original position, or by and large they are able to cater, they are able to fulfill the required desirement. So this is the point. Once again I am repeating, afforestation means the maintenance of forests, jungles in such condition that they are able to fulfill all the dreams, all the requirements, all the needs in a proper manner. We obtain different things from the forest: wood, timber, medicinal plants, bark of trees, bamboo, timber, so all have to be cut down. I'm not saying that we should not cut them. From where? If we're not cutting the trees, we need wood, we need timber. So from where we'll get? We'll get the forest. But the point is, the cutting of the trees must be supplemented by planting trees. And this is the meaning of reforestation. This is the meaning of reforestation. Suppose we cut down trees, one tree. So we have to calculate how many trees are required. So the forest officers, forest personals, they have some data. How plant has to be, or which number of plants have to be planted for one cut down tree. Because trees takes long time in the growth, and so as a result, they maintain the temperature, they maintain the balance of gases, they maintain so many things. And as a result, there is imbalance, they maintain the rain, they maintain the floods, they attract the clouds, they provide shelter to different animals, creatures, and so this is reforestation. So forests have to be conserved. This is one point. Now, second point is the control of deforestation. Controlling of deforestation, just opposite of this. Control of deforestation. So we have to control the cutting of trees. Deforestation has to be controlled. Deforestation has to be controlled, and it is only possible when required number of persons related to the forest department are employed, or the rules must be enforced in a very effective manner so that no one can cut the trees for unnecessary reason or for illegal benefit. And this is possible only by this checking or proper rules and regulations so that there cannot be any damage to the forest. So in this connection, different points are there. Parents people awareness also required. Awareness among society is also required that we should not harm the plants. If we are going as a nature lover to visit any forest, then we are not supposed to destroy any plants. If there is any sapling is growing, we should not harm the sapling. Proper irrigation in case of drought, in case of dry season, proper irrigation has to be there. Children, so we can maintain forest by the control of deforestation also. Water has to be supplied. Small plants, saplings, which are planted in the forest for every cut down trees. So they have to be watered in the summers or at the time of requirement. So this is very important point in the conservation of forest. Now children, third is, which is also very significant, which is equally significant, recycling. Recycling of paper. So paper has to be recycled. This is very important point. Children, you must know it. We always say recycling. So what is the meaning of recycling? So you must know the garbage collectors or kabadi walas. They purchase the newspaper. They purchase the books from our homes. And what they do? They send to the factories. There are factories throughout the world, in every country, who have the capacity to process the old books, old newspaper. So they purchase the old newspapers or this garbage, and then they decompose the paper or pages or the book into wood pulp. Then wood pulp is again used to make the fine paper. But before doing this, children, some steps are done, because there is the printing, there is the use of color, different ink for printing. So the colors or the ink has to be removed. Color or ink has to be washed away from the paper pulp. So old paper, it is converted into wood pulp. Pulp is semi-solid mass. Then wood pulp, it is decolorized. Color is removed. Then fresh paper is made. So then fresh paper is made. So this is the step. They take the old paper, then they, by the different processes, They decompose, they keep in water, so paper becomes, soft. Then they crush into mill. Then as a result, they get the wood pulp. Then the color, dye, etc. It is removed by suitable substances, suitable processes. Then they get the fresh paper. So this is about the conservation of forest, how we are able to conserve the forest. Now, children, I am going to explain the second part, conservation of biodiversity. So, what is biodiversity? Bio means uh, animals and plants. So, biodiversity means conservation of flora and fauna. Plants and animals, they have to be protected. They have to be conserved in its own manner. So, there are few points also here. Uh, the strong and effective, strong and effective laws. So the laws must be strong and effective. Laws must be strong and effective, so that the persons may not be able to cut down the trees or may harm any plant or can harm any forest. So this is only possible when the persons are, afraid, or persons don't have dare to cut any tree, or they cannot harm the forest, or they cannot, or the poachers or the hunters, they may not be able to hunt any animal. Now, this connection throughout the world and all the countries, some committees have been made in association with the forest department, which conserve the forests. And there is a very important application. There is the World Conservation Union also. There is World Conservation Union. Union is for the throughout the world. Different countries, they help each other. And World Conservation Union, World Conservation Union, WCU. So World Conservation Union helps different countries. There are different countries, and you all must be knowing that the African countries, they are very much poor. You all must know, like Uganda, South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, they're very poor countries. The persons are very much, uh, poor, so they cannot have the proper meals and their living conditions very miserable. So the poor persons, they sell the illegally the different animal products, animals, and the trees, etc. They are rich in their biodiversity, Africa. So this WCU helps the countries to maintain the forest in their proper manner, and in India also, that the forest guards, forest guards, forest rangers, they are given full freedom. They are given with, weapons. They are given with safety equipments. They are given with the jeeps or the cabs to take the round. They are given with the mobile phones nowadays, controlling equipments, to control. Search parties are there. So search parties are also there. Search parties. Search parties, they at random search the forest, so that no one is damaging any forest, no one is harming any point. So this is only possible. Now, children, second is the making of protected, making of protected areas. So children, making of protected areas, actually there are some specific places in a forest. Specific places in a forest, and that portion is not allowed for any other person except forest guards, forest rangers, such parties. Again, I'm repeating, making forests protected areas or making protected areas. So some portion of the forest have to be declared as protected areas. You might have seen whenever you go on highways, you might have seen when you pass by any jungle, any forest, it is written protected area, prohibited area, because no human activity is allowed except the officials. So that if any plant is growing, the animals are there, so they are secure, they are safe by the human activity, and they feel free. And so if the plants are destroyed, so there will be harm, and as a result the plants have to maintain, animals are safe. You might have seen there are many protected areas for the deers, where the bugs, they are growing, they are reproducing, they have their family. So it is only possible when we uh, give the animals a free space, give the animals free space to live in. And so this is very important, significant, and government and every person, this is our responsibility also. Only enforcing law, only enforcing laws, or by making the laws, it is not sufficient unless until each one of us, every one of us, take part or we initiate the points. Now, other point is, your children, in this is the declaration of wildlife sanctuaries. Wildlife sanctuaries have to be made. Biosphere reserves can be made. So third point is making of wildlife sanctuaries. Wildlife sanctuaries, you almost knowing, wildlife sanctuaries have to be made. They are a special type of protected areas, but wildlife sanctuaries, they are meant for a specific purpose. Like in Bharatpur Asthan, there is the bird sanctuary. There is the bird sanctuary. The bird sanctuary is meant for the birds. It has animals also, but it is basically for the birds. Many types of animals like sambar, cheetah, leopards, there, peacocks are also there, but it is meant exclusively for the Siberian crane. Butterflies are also there. So it has to be taken into consideration, and wildlife sanctuary, more and more wildlife sanctuaries have to be uh, made. Then other point is, there is the conservation of natural parks also. Natural parks. Nature parks or natural parks have to be declared. Nature park, natural parks, actually they are not artificial. They are the natural. Actually, it is extension of the protected area. These are the extension of the protected areas. And nature park, natural park, like there in India, there are many. Gir forest in Gujarat, it is fixed for the Asiatic lion. Is that clear? Then Ranthambore is for the tigers. Sariska is for the tigers. So they have to be protected. And children, in natural parks, some area is covered. Fencing is done by law so that no one other person can enter. And so we can conserve flora and fauna in this manner. This is the way how we conserve the flora and fauna, and thus we have to maintain it. Now, next point is making of Botanical gardens. Botanical gardens. Botanical gardens, they are the special type of gardens. And botanical gardens are artificial. They are man-made. And as the name indicates, botanical garden. So it is artificial. It is artificial and different types of plants, trees are planted in a specific area. So a specific area is there. Botanical gardens in cities, big cities, metros. There are the botanical gardens, zoos, and so botanical gardens actually they are used for the awareness. And the persons must know, must identify. The persons must be able to identify any plant, and so as a result of this, we are able to maintain. And in India, there are many centuries also, and we have around 500. Actually, we have 492 centuries. In India, there are the 492, 492 centuries, smaller, larger, and so there are many more. In all the states, there are the centuries because biodiversity of India is very rich, and government is now slowly and slowly gearing up to maintain the biodiversity, maintain the forest, and so these are the ways by which we can conserve the flora and fauna.